Disclaimer, the following video includes the topic of suicide. There will be hotlines in the description below, but viewer discretion is advised. Also, this video is my opinion, but that's less important. I don't care, this movie sucks. Anyways, let's get on with the video. Hi, I'm Steven. You probably guessed that by the name of the channel. I'm currently sitting in the void, and these are my musical thoughts on Dear Evan Hansen, the movie. For those who didn't see my review of the stage version, at the end of that video, I said I was going to watch the movie because I wanted to see how they would fuck it up even more. And Lord pray the heavens above, said the broke and also non-religious film major, because after I dropped my video, many horrible choices the movie made were released to the public. These choices include getting rid of 3 major songs that were relevant to the plot, and also breaking a glove, and also pulling a 2012 Les Mis by having the movie include live singing, which, if you don't know why that's a horrible choice, it's because that if you get people with the singing ability of Russell Crowe, then your movie is going to end up like shit. And with problems like these, amongst many others that were released to the public, as I predicted, the critics didn't like it. And I mean they really didn't like it. I mean, Ben Platt was compared to Jar Jar Binks. And I feel bad for Jar Jar Binks. So when I got to the cinema, bought my shitty movie theater popcorn, and then sat down with the 8 other people in the theater, this isn't a joke, there were literally only 9 of us watching the movie that day, I was expecting this movie to be god-awful. And this movie was definitely a movie. This movie is somehow slightly better and yet way much worse than the stage version at the same time. And for me to explain that, I should probably explain that I took notes listing every single problem I had with the movie so I wouldn't lose my thoughts. I'm not going to list all of them, because if I did, this video would be an hour long, and I at least want to try to get this video out before the end of the year, so I'm just going to list the biggest and most obvious problems I had with the movie. So anyways, let's jump right into this musical movie minestrone soup. But before I do that, I need to grab something from the void. There we go, and now we can start the review. I would like to point out that even though I hate this property, you don't say no to free merchandise. So basically, Evan Hansen is an anxiety-filled high schooler who has to take his normal pills to help with his anxiety. Not even 1 minute into the film, and we already see problem number 1. The cinematography and editing are both absolutely awful, and this is coming from a broke-ass film major. The camera operator could not decide for the life of him what he wanted to do. Sometimes the camera is shaky, sometimes it's not. Just pick a fucking lane. And the camera movement wouldn't even be that bad if the editing was actually good. I swear, there are probably more jump cuts in the first song than the entirety of Mulan 2020. And speaking of the first song, problem number 2A, the live singing doesn't work. We'll get to 2B later in the video. If you're wondering why this is a problem, let me give you a quick example on how microphones work. You can't pick and choose what noise you pick up with a microphone. So if you pick up background noise that's very distracting, it pulls you away from the focus, and you will most likely pay more attention to the background noise than what's actually happening on the screen. So, if you have, for example, Ben Platt singing in a loud and noisy high school where there is a lot of background noise, it will be very distracting. And that leads me into problem number 3. Ben Platt looks fucking old. He looks 40. Now, I will give the movie credit, this problem isn't really that noticeable because it tries to make you focus on the other glaring problems with the film. But Jesus Christ, why'd you have to cast a 27-year-old as someone who's a decade younger? You already had a fucking 17-year-old play Evan Hansen on Broadway. Just use him. If the goal of this movie was to preserve the performance of Ben Platt, just use a fucking pro shot. Because on Broadway, he doesn't look like he's about to say, "How do you do, fellow kids," at any moment in the film. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're only 5 minutes into this film and this movie is 2 hours and 17 minutes! So this kid named Connor Murphy commits suicide because he thought Evan was making fun of him with a therapy letter that Evan had to write for therapy. And then 3 days later, Evan gets called into the principal's office, and the principal tells him that Connor's mother and stepfather are here to see him. Problem number 4, the casting of Connor's stepfather. Now look, I'm not gonna shit on Danny Pino's acting because he is a great actor, but from what I could find, the only reason why they changed it from father to stepfather is because they cast a Latino actor. My question is, why? There's literally no point to that. The producers do know that interracial marriages exist, right? Because if they don't, that's very concerning. And then after that whole scene where Connor's parents are dumb and don't believe Evan for telling the truth, Evan gets invited over to dinner. And then Evan sings For Forever, which leads me into problem number 2B. The singing sounds robotic from time to time. It's hard to explain, but there's this really weird and dissonant sound that plays in the background every time someone sings in like half the songs in this movie. I'm not sure if it's a theater thing, but it's there if you notice it. So this is yet another reason why live singing doesn't work. Jump forward about 20-ish minutes into the film, and we get to the creepy confession song, where Evan tells Connor's sister that he loves her, and I will give the movie credit. It is slightly less creepy than the stage version. Instead of Evan just knowing a bunch of random shit about Connor's sister, at least he grabs it from context clues that are scattered around the house. That still doesn't change the fact that Evan is a creepy stalker. Then at this point in the movie, we get to a brand new song which is sung by the character that nobody f***ing remembers. And I'm gonna be honest, the entire time this song was playing, it reminded me of Dream's Mask song. I don't know why. I think it was because they were talking about medication before the song actually started. And the end of this song starts the creation of the Connor Project, which is something that's supposed to help keep alive the memory of a dead kid that everybody cared about. Problem number 5, the Connor Project has no reason to exist in the movie. In the stage version, it was portrayed to me that nobody cared about Connor, but in the movie, there's a fucking shrine by his locker, so it's clear that people cared about Connor. So what's the point of the Connor Project? If it is canon that in the stage version, people outside of the actors on stage actually cared about Connor, I must have been blind as fuck because I didn't pick up on that at all. Then Evan gives his speech in probably the most uncomfortable scene in the entire movie, and then we get to problem number 6, Oliver. No, not the stage play. Oliver is an African-American character which is exclusive to the movie. While I was writing the script, I found out that there was a lot of backlash for the movie because the majority of the cast and crew were white. Now the thing is, this character was built up to be this major supporting role that would have a huge effect on the story. This character has one line of singing, no spoken dialogue, and in total, 14 seconds of screen time. I would be in shock that the producers would pull some kind of bullshit like this, but then again, they did change the status of a character because of someone's race. Also, in the song that he gets his one line in, this screenshot appears. This is an actual screenshot in the movie. But anyways, we get to the song where Connor's sister confesses her love for Evan. They start dating. The sexual undertones were very much taken out of this song, although at this point I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And then we get to problem number 7. Evan doesn't get called out for his bullshit. In the stage version, Evan discards all responsibilities in his life to essentially replace Connor, and then Connor's mother, Connor's friend, and the character that nobody f***ing remembers calls him out because they start suspecting that things are getting a little fishy. In the movie, you can take all that shit and throw it out the f***ing window you were waving through because, oh right, they cut that song from the movie. Once again, why was this change made? There was literally no reason for it, you actual Toby Fox troglodytes. After that, the character that nobody f***ing remembers gets the therapy letter from Evan. Then she posts it online, and then the internet turns into Twitter, and then Evan confesses everything that he has ever done. And then we get this absolute masterpiece of an image. This is also an actual screenshot from the movie. One of my friends called him Bilbo Baggins, and I think that's really funny. And then finally, after what feels like 20 minutes or 5 f***ing hours of torture, we get a new and improved ending that is exclusive to the movie. And in full honesty, it is slightly less bad than the stage version. It's not good, it's just less bad. To quickly summarize this new ending, our main character decides, hey, maybe I should stop being a selfish and narcissistic sociopath. Wait, that's the ending of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Never mind, let me try again. Our main character decides, hey, maybe I should stop being a selfish and narcissistic sociopath. So Evan admits to everything he made up via a video on Instagram. Ah yes, so Evan finally becomes one of those canceled YouTubers, except this time, it's not for pedophilia. Then in order to try and reconnect with the dead person that he took advantage of, he reads a bunch of books from a random list that he found online, and then he sends a video of Connor singing in rehab to all of his friends and family via flash drives in the mail. At least it wasn't through Twitter. And then similar to the musical, Evan meets Connor's sister in an apple orchard, which for some reason grows oranges, and then Evan accepts himself for who he is. And nothing of value is gained from watching this movie. So I will be real with you. These last 10 minutes in this 2-hour and 17-minute movie are probably the best thing, especially when Connor sings the new song. It's the only song that works with the live singing. My only major problem with this new ending is, what are the logistics of recording someone privately during rehab? I feel like that goes against several laws of the Geneva Convention. And yes, I know what the Geneva Convention is. Shut up, it's a joke. And that was Dear Evan Hansen. By God, was it definitely a movie. So for those who don't know, when I did my review of the stage play, I gave it a 0 out of 10. I'm just gonna quietly bump that score up to a 3 out of 10. Based off that context, you can probably guess what score I'm gonna give this movie. I'm giving it a 1 out of 10. There are only 2 redeeming qualities in this movie: the last 10 minutes and the person who plays Connor's sister, because she doesn't give the acting job of a robot, which everyone else in this movie does. I forgot to mention that, but that's major problem number 8. Okay, never mind, there's actually 3 redeeming qualities in this movie. Because in the very beginning of the movie, there's a scene where Evan gets nervous in front of Connor's sister, and then Evan literally Naruto runs through the school hallways. This is an actual scene in the movie, and it's the funniest shit I've ever seen. But other than those 3 things, this movie is dog shit. The actors look really awkward on screen. It's somehow even more poorly written than the stage play, despite the fact that it's the same f***ing story. The live singing makes these somewhat decent songs sound like absolute dog shit, and I will once again reiterate this from my review of the stage show: this is not how you write a show about suicide. Anyways, thanks for staying here and listening to me rant about this property. At this point, since I've covered Dear Evan Hansen twice on this channel, I might even buy the book and do a review of that, but who even knows at this point? Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to contemplate my life in the void. Goodbye. Ah!